I'm sitting at my kitchen table in Pattaya, staring at a piece of paper that's been here so long it's yellowed from the humidity. There's a coffee ring in the bottom corner, brown and permanent, like a stain on something that used to matter. The paper is an email I printed 4 months ago. The words are still clear enough to read, even though I don't need to look anymore. I know every line by heart. Getting married, July 14th. That's the subject line. Below it, my son's name. Below that, the date I wasn't there for. I'm David Patterson. I'm 73 years old. I spent 41 years managing risk at Westpac in Melbourne, approving loans, denying applications, calculating probabilities. I was good at numbers because numbers don't lie to you. People do, but numbers don't. I thought that mattered. And I thought being reliable meant something. Show up on time, do the work, provide for your family. Then you retire and you're free. That paper on my table taught me something about freedom. It taught me that you can move to a new country, start a new life, leave everything behind. But you can't leave behind the person you actually are. You take that with you, and eventually, you have to sit across from yourself and realize what you've been running from. But before I tell you about the text message I got 2 days after my son's wedding, before I tell you what it said and why I still can't delete it, you need to understand how I ended up at this table with this piece of paper and nobody to call. Our parents didn't know this. The travel brochures certainly don't mention it. I didn't know it until it was too late to matter. I believed the same story for 40 years. Work hard, save money, and when you're done, you get to be happy. You get to be yourself. You get to start over. I'm not saying this to sound wise. I'm not trying to warn you off anything specific. I'm saying it because I don't have much time left to say it. And someone needs to hear this before they make the same mistake I did. When I was younger, I thought that mattered. I thought being reliable meant something. Show up on time, do the work, provide for your family. That's what men did. My son was born when I was 32. I remember holding him in the hospital and thinking, I'll make sure he never struggles the way I did. I'll give him stability. So I worked 50-hour weeks, 60 sometimes. My ex-wife used to say, I loved the bank more than I loved her. And I'd get angry because that wasn't true. I was doing it for them. Didn't she understand that? She did, actually. She understood it better than I did. The divorce happened when I was 68. It wasn't dramatic. No affair, no screaming match. Just two people who'd been living separate lives for so long that the paperwork felt like a formality. My son was 40 by then. He had his own life in Sydney. We texted on birthdays, called on Christmas, but we didn't really talk. We did the script. How's work? Good. Busy. How's the weather? Can't complain. I told myself that was normal. Fathers and sons don't need to be best friends. After the divorce, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Not sadness, not relief exactly, more like possibility. Like I'd been let out of a cage I didn't know I was in. One of the guys at the bank had retired to Thailand a few years earlier. He'd send photos sometimes, beach sunsets, cold beer, big smile. He looked younger somehow. I started researching. The money stretched further there. The weather was warm. No one knew me. No one expected anything from me. I could just be David. Not David the bank manager. Not David the ex-husband. Not David the father who worked too much. Just David. I bought a one-way ticket 3 months after the divorce papers were signed. Pattaya wasn't what I expected, but it also wasn't what people assume. Yes, there are bars. Yes, there are old white men making fools of themselves. I'm not naive, but there are also neighborhoods, markets, normal life happening all around you if you look for it. I found a small condo near the beach. Nothing fancy. One bedroom, on a balcony where I could watch the sky change colors in the evening. For the first few months, I felt lighter than I had in decades. No alarm clock, no meetings, no one needing anything from me. I met Knock at a beachside bar where I'd go for lunch sometimes. She was a waitress, 47 years old, kind smile, decent English. We talked about small things at first, the weather, the food, Australian football, which she didn't understand but pretended to care about. I know what people think when they hear this story. Old man, young Thai woman, I've heard the jokes, I've seen the Reddit threads. But here's the thing nobody tells you. When you're 73 and divorced and your son doesn't call and a woman smiles at you like you matter, you don't care what people think. You just want to feel like a person again. Knock wasn't using me. I wasn't some stupid old fool. We had an arrangement that worked for both of us. I helped with her rent. She made me feel less invisible. It was honest, in its way. We'd have dinner twice a week. She'd tell me about her daughter in Bangkok. I'd talk about the bank, about Melbourne, about things that felt safe. I didn't talk about my son. I didn't talk about the fact that I hadn't called him in 6 months, or that when he texted, I'd wait 3 days to respond so it didn't look like I was sitting around with nothing to do, which I was. That's what no one tells you about retirement. The freedom you think you're getting is just another word for empty time. And empty time has a way of showing you things about yourself you'd rather not see. I thought I'd left my old life behind. But you can't leave yourself behind. You just take yourself to a new location and pretend the scenery changes anything. The invitation came in March. An email from my son. Subject line, getting married, July 14th. I opened it at the condo. It was formal, polite. The way you'd write to a distant relative, you're obligated to invite, but don't expect to show up. Hi, Dad. Sarah and I are getting married in Sydney on July 14th. Ceremony at 2 p.m. at St. Mary's. Reception at the Harborside Hotel. No pressure if you can't make it. I know it's a long trip. Hope you're well. No pressure if you can't make it. I read that line maybe 50 times. Not, hope you can come. Not, would love to have you there. Not, it would mean a lot. No pressure if you can't make it, because he didn't expect me to make it. He'd stopped expecting me to show up years ago, maybe decades ago. I just hadn't noticed. I printed the email. I don't know why. Maybe because it felt more real on paper. It sat on my kitchen table for 3 days, then a week, then 2 weeks. Knock asked about it once. What is this? My son's getting married. You go. I don't know. She didn't push. That was one of the things I liked about her. She didn't ask questions I didn't want to answer, but the paper stayed on the table. I'd see it every morning when I made coffee, every evening when I came home from walking the beach. It got a coffee ring on it. The corners started to curl from the humidity. I told myself I had time to decide. The wedding was months away. But here's what I've learned. When you tell yourself you have time, what you're really saying is you're scared. Scared of what showing up would mean. Scared of what not showing up would mean. I spent 40 years at that bank, assessing risk, calculating outcomes, making safe decisions, and I made the safe decision again. I didn't reply. I told myself he'd understand. He was busy with wedding planning. He had his own life. He didn't need his old man flying halfway around the world to sit awkwardly at a reception where he barely knew anyone. The wedding came and went. I saw photos on Facebook. My son in a suit, his wife, Sarah, in a white dress. They looked happy. I wasn't in any of the photos, obviously. 2 days after the wedding, I got a text, just one line. Missed you yesterday. Not angry, not disappointed, just factual. Missed you yesterday. I stared at that text for an hour. I drafted 15 different responses. Each one sounded worse than the last. I finally wrote, "Congratulations to you both. Looked like a beautiful day." He didn't respond. That was 8 months ago. The invitation is still on my table. The coffee stain is permanent now. The paper is yellowed, but I can't throw it away, because it's the only proof I have that my son thought of me at all, that for one moment, when he was planning the most important day of his life, he considered whether I should be there. And I chose not to be. I thought retirement meant freedom. Freedom from schedules. Freedom from expectations. Freedom from other people's needs. What I didn't understand is that freedom and loneliness are the same thing if you're not careful. I'm not telling you not to retire. I'm not telling you not to travel. I'm not even telling you not to move to Thailand if that's what you want. I'm telling you that you can't escape yourself. You can change countries. You can change partners. You can change your entire life. But the person you are, the choices you make, the people you ignore, the calls you don't return, that comes with you. I thought I'd left my old life behind, but I'd just traded one kind of emptiness for another. At least in Melbourne, I had an excuse. I was busy. I was working. I had responsibilities. Here, I have nothing but time. And time is the worst thing you can have when you're trying not to think. I see knock less now, not because anything happened, just because it started to feel hollow. We were both pretending. She was pretending I wasn't just a paycheck. I was pretending she wasn't just proof that someone still wanted me around. Last week, I went to the beach and sat there for 3 hours, just watching the water. A Thai family was nearby. Father, mother, 2 kids. The father was teaching his son to swim, patient, laughing when the kid splashed him. I thought about my son learning to swim. I wasn't there. I was at a conference in Brisbane. I thought about his graduation. I was there, but I left early for a work call. I thought about his 30th birthday. I sent money. I thought I'd have time to make up for it. That's the lie. You always think you'll have time. But then one day your son gets married and you're not there. And he doesn't even seem surprised. That's when you realize the time wasn't coming. It's already gone. I'm 73. I'm healthy enough. I could live another 10 years, maybe 15 if I'm unlucky, but none of that time will give me back the years I wasted thinking I had more. The invitation is still on my table. Some mornings I think about booking a flight to Sydney. I'm showing up unannounced, trying to explain. But explain what? That I was scared? That I was selfish? That I chose my own comfort over the one person who ever needed me to just show up? He knows all that already. I don't know if there's anything I can do now. Maybe it's too late for me and my son. Maybe some things can't be fixed once you've ignored them long enough. But if you're reading this and you still have time, and someone in your life is waiting for you to just show up, don't wait. Don't tell yourself you'll do it next month, next year, after you retire, after you get your life together. Do it now, today, before the invitation gets a coffee stain on it and you realize you've become the kind of person people invite out of obligation, not expectation. I'm running out of time to fix my mistakes. You're not. Not yet.